In the last class, we were discussing about asynchronous sequential circuits, how to analyze them, and the main problem that comes into the designing of the asynchronous circuits is the race conditions. We have studied about transition table and the flow table, and now in today's lecture, we are starting with the race conditions in designing asynchronous sequential circuits. Now, what the race condition is, if two or more binary state variables changes their value when one input variable changes, means we are changing only one input and two or more than two secondary variables or the present states are changing, then we say that the race will occur in the circuit. Now, in that condition, we cannot predict state sequence if unequal delay is encountered, and this is due to the wire delay or the logic level delay in the different paths. Now, consider the example. Suppose initially we are in a stable state 0 0. That means the present state is 0 0, and we can clearly see in the transition table that this is 0 0 is a stable state as it is circled, because y, small y, is equals to capital Y. Now what happens if x changes from 0 to 1, then the next state will be 1 1, and this will move. This 1 1 is an unstable state. After some time, the present state will be 1 1, and now it will move to the third row, and 1 1 is here a stable state, and the circuit will stay in the 1 1 condition. So we can see that there is a race between when we are changing x from 0 to 1 and present state is changing from 0 0 to 1 1, means both states are changing, both variables are changing. Then there will always be a race that in which way which variable will change first and which will in the second. So always when when there is a condition that two or more variables are changing, there is a race between both the variables and both tries to be change its state, and there we say the race is occurred in the circuit. Now in the second case, suppose it is going from 0 0, then 0 0 to 0 1, and then 0 1 is again an unstable state. 0 1, there is no stable state, it will go to 1 1, and after that it will again be 1 1. So we can see here it is taking two less time, changing from 0 0 to 1 1, and it goes from 0 0 to 0 1 and then 1 1. Similarly, if we change from 0 0 to 1 0 to 0 0 1 0 1 0, there is no stable state, it will go to 1 1, and 1 1 is the stable state. So we can see that the cycle is different, but the initial and the final conditions are same. Again, in the second diagram, the possible transitions are, it may go, because there are only two stable states, 0 0 and 0 1. So when we change the input from x from 0 to 1, so it will go from state 0 0 to 0 1, and the possible transitions are, it may go from 0 0 to 0 0, then 1 1, then 1 1 to 0 1. That's the first possible transition. Or it may go from 0 0 to 0 1, and 0 1 is a stable state. It may go from 0 0 to 1 0 1 0, then there is 1 1, it will go to 1 1, and after 1 1, because it is an unstable state, it will go to 0 1. So this is the condition that how the transition takes place, and this transition is due to the unequal delay in the circuit. So these are the race conditions. And there are two type of race condition. The first one which we were discussing is the non-critical race. In the non-critical race, the final stable state does not depend on the change order of the state variable. We can see in the both diagrams, whatever is the possible transitions, the initial and the final states are same, because we are changing from 0 0 to 1 1 in the figure A, and it is from 0 0 to 0 1 in state in figure B. The number of transition is different, but the final state is same. So when we say it is a non-critical race when the final state does not depend upon the change order of the state variable. Means in all the possible transitions, the final state is constant. We say there is a non-critical race. On the other hand, now see the diagram. For the as we have we are starting again from 0 0. Whenever x is changing from 0 to 1, so we can see whenever x is 1, there are three possible stable states: 0 1 and 1 1 and 1 0. So whichever present state changes first, suppose y1 y2 is 0 0, and suppose y2 changes first, so 0 1 0 1 it comes here, and 0 1 is a stable state, it will stay here. Now suppose y1 changes first, depending upon the path delay. Whenever y1 changes first, it comes from 0 0 to 1 0, and 1 0 is again a stable state, it will stay in 1 0. And if both variable changes at the same time, and it goes from 0 0 to 1 1, and 1 1 again is a possible state, so you can see that in all three possible transitions, the final state is different. In the figure B, the same is here. Here are two possible states when x is changing from 0 to 1. For x equals to 0, there is only possible state 0 0, and for x equals to 1, there are two possible states, so stable states 1 1 and 1 0. So depending upon the value of y1 and y2, whichever is changing first, the final state is different in all three transition, and such type of delay is called critical race. So the change critical race is defined as the change order of the state variable will result in different stable state, and in all possible design conditions, the critical and the non-critical the critical race must be avoided. That means whatever is the race, if the race is present in the circuit, so we should avoid the critical race. That means in each possible transitions, the final state must be constant. Means whatever in which state we are trying to move the circuit, that should go into that particular state. So that must be kept in mind. The races, if the two or more variable changes its states with a single input change, it is called the race is to be going to happen. And there are two types of race: non-critical race, where the final state is constant, and the critical race, where final state is different for different change in the variable, and this is due to the different path delay in the circuit. And in a short, we must kept in mind, we should keep in mind that the critical race must be avoided when we are designing asynchronous sequential circuits. Now move to the other condition. So we should, when we are going to design the circuit, then we should, when we are assigning binary values, so we should do the race-free state assignment. The race can be avoided by proper state assignment. So what we should do, we should direct the circuit through intermediate unstable state with a unique state variable change, and this is known as a cycle. So if we have to move the state from 0 0 to 1 0, then the possible cycle should be 0 0, then 0 1, then 1 1 and 1 0. You can see in each possible transitions, there is no only one bit is changing, just like what happens in the gray code. One bit is changing from 0 0 to 0 1, then 1 1 one bit change, and 1 1 to 1 0, that is a single bit change, and the final state is constant. So we should always decide a cycle when we are designing asynchronous sequential circuits. So what we are doing first, x is changes from 0 to 1, then it goes to 0 1. In the 0 1, it goes to 1 1. 1 1 is an unstable state, and after when it comes to be 1 1, 1 1 it finds a state 1 0, that is again an unstable state, and it goes to 1 0, and 1 0 is a stable state. The circuit will stay here. So we should follow a cycle, and again, suppose we are going to 0 0 to 1 1. So the only cycle is 0 0, then 0 1 and 1 1. Now if we goes from 0 0 to 1 0, then 1 0 is a stable state, the circuit will stay there. So if we have to move from 0 0 to 1 1, So the cycle should be 0, 0 and 0, 1 and 1, 1. So this is the way how the race pre-assignment is done for the designing. And also we must ensure that a cycle will terminate with a stable state. If it doesn't happen, the circuit will keep going in unstable states and it will start oscillating like in this. As we have only one stable state 0, 0. Now from 0, 0, if we change x from 0 to 1, it will go to 0, 1. 0, 1 is unstable state. It will come to 0, 1 after some time. Then the value is 1, 1. 1, 1 is again an unstable state. It will go to 1, 1. Then 1, 1 it finds a stable state, unstable state 0, 1. In it sorry 1, 0. It will go to 1, 0, and after 1, 0 it will go to 0, 1. So it will start oscillating between these three states and it will never terminate to the stable state, that is 0, 0. So the such type of condition must be kept in mind while we are following a particular cycle. Reduction of the flow table, how to reduce the flow tables, as we have studied in the last topic when we are discussing sequential circuits, how to reduce the state tables. The process is same here in the when we are reducing the flow table. The only difference is that the flow table may be is completely specified or incompletely specified depending upon if there are the don't care conditions in the output. So how it happens? Two or more rows can be merged into one row if these are non-conflicting states and output in every columns is constant. Now after merge into one row, don't care entries are overwritten, stable states and the output values are included, and a common symbol is given to the merged row. We'll do it with the help of the example. Suppose this is a flow table. A, B, C, D, E, and F are the present state, and in the map we have circled. So C, comma don't care. Whenever input D and G are 0, 0, the next state is C, and the output is don't care. We don't care about the output. It is read like this. If it is in present state and input is 0, 1, then the next state is A, that is the stable state, comma 0. So where there is a circle, there is a stable state, and otherwise it is an unstable state. So state comma output, output dash is a don't care conditions. So what we are going to do, we are going to reduce or this particular flow table. Let us do it step by step. So this is our table, and we look with the partitioning method. Two rows can be merged if there is no conflict of the state and there is no conflict of the output. So when we look into A and B, in the A, stable state is A and the output is 0. In B, stable state is B, but the output is 1. That cannot be merged. So we can see that if we merge A and C, so for the input 0, 0, here is C comma 0, fine, that can be merged. A comma 0, fine. B comma dash, fine. And D comma dash, that is fine. So we can merge A and C, both are the equivalent rows. When we look into A and D, so we see C comma 0, first row, fine, first column, and A comma 0, second column, B comma dash, second column, D comma 0, because for the stable state output 0 is same. In this way we look for the different possible possibilities, and here we can see that the A, C and D can be merged into one, and B, E and F can be merged into one, because there is no conflict of the stable state and the output. So two rows are equivalent if the output is same and there is no conflict of the merging of the states. You can see two stable states cannot be merged because C and F, because both are the stable states, they cannot be merged. A stable state can be merged with an unstable state, just like for the A and C, because when we overlap this, the output will be next state will be C comma 0. So in this way, these can be merged into one, and these can be merged into one, like A comma C comma D we have merged. For the first column, it is C comma 0, C comma 0. A comma 0, A comma 0, here is B comma dash, here is D comma 0, D comma 0. Now when we merge B, E and F, so in the first column there is F comma 1, F comma 1, A comma dash, A comma dash, here come B comma 1, B comma 1 and E comma 1, so here is E comma 1. So what we do, where there is A, C and D, we write it like A, where is B, E and F, we write it like B, and this is your final reduced flow table. So the final reduced flow table is A comma 0, A comma 0, B comma dash, A comma 0 and B comma 1, A comma dash, B comma 1, B comma 1. So where there is a B in the second row, this is a stable state. Where there is a A, this is a stable states. So this is the way how the state are reduced with the help of the partitioning method. What we have done, we have partitioned the common rows into one and into different categories, and we have merged into a single row. Now the state reduction, we have discussed state reduction, and we have seen that if we reduce the states into some less number of states, that means that we have removed the redundant states. Then we see that if there is a particular sequence of the input, then the output in that case is same. So if it is possible, then we can reduce the states, and after reducing the states, so what we are doing, we are minimizing the complexity of the circuit, we are minimizing the number of flip-flops, number of logic gates, and we are reducing the cost. That is this is the way why we reduce the states. So how states are reduced? Two stable states are equivalent if they have same output and go to the same equivalent next state for each possible inputs. Suppose this is a state table. We have four stable states A, B, C and D. This is your next state for x equals to 0 and x equals to 1, and output x equals to 0 and x equals to 1. So it may be written like C comma 0, B comma 1, D comma 0, A comma 1, A comma 1, D comma 0. We can merge output with a comma and in the next state as in the flow table. So we have to merge if this is a table and this is a state table, and we have to design. Then for the there are four possible states, and if we are using the flip flops to design this with the synchronous circuit, then we have to use two flip flop at least, because of four possible combinations, two flip flop. So if C and D are equivalent, if C and D are equivalent, there is, because the output in both cases same, 1 comma 1 0 1 0, then A and B are equivalent. So we can say A comma B is same if C is equals to D. So we can see if A, B are equivalent, then C and D are equivalent, and we can reduce this into from four states to the two states. And the state reduction procedure is similar in both synchronous and the asynchronous sequential circuits. Now for completely specified state table, as this is given in the right hand side, this is a completely specified because it is specifying the next state and the output. We use implication table, and for incompletely specified state table, we use compatible pairs. So we are going to discuss both the techniques, how to reduce the state tables for the completely specified and incompletely specified state tables. So again, two states are equivalent if their response for each possible input sequence is an identical output sequence. Alternatively, two states are equivalent if their outputs produced for each input symbol is identical and their next state for each input symbol are same or equivalent. Two states that are not equivalent are distinguishable. The checking of each pair of states for possible equivalence in a table with a large number of states can be done systematically on an implication table. And the implication table is a chart that consists of squares, one for every possible pair of the states that we are going to discuss in the next slides. Now the process is place a cross in a any square corresponding to a pair whose outputs are not equal. So first of all, we have to look into if the outputs are equal. Enter the remaining squares, the pairs of the states that are implied by the pair of state representing the squares. Start from top square in the leftmost column and going down, and then proceeding with the next column to the right. Make successive passes through the table to determine whether any additional square should be marked with a cross. So let us do with the help of the example, and finally all the squares that have no crosses are recorded with check mark. Let us do with the help of an example. Suppose this is a state table and we have to reduce this state table with the help of implication table. So the state table will be given with you. Here the next state and the outputs are given for the two input combinations, x equals to 0 and x equals to 1, and the present state is from a, b, c, d, e, f, g. So we made a state, implication table like this. So what we do, on the y-axis we left the first state a and we start with b, c, d, e, f, g, and in the x-axis we write from a, we left the last state and we start with the first state a, b, c, d, e, f. So what you do, you make a table like this, and forget it about this. So what we do first is A and B. We compare A with B. When we compare A with B, so what happens? Output is same. So what is, if D equals to Z, then A equals to B. If D implies B, that's why it is called implication table. So we write D comma E because we don't know if D is equals to E. Next we compare A and C. When we compare A and C, we see here for x equals to 0, input is next at D comma G. D here is D comma D and B is G and F, but the output is different because here output is 0 0, here output is 0 1. So C and A cannot be matched. So we put a cross. Again similarly A and D will output is different because here output is 0 0, here output is 1 0. So we put a cross. Again A comma E, output is different, cross. A comma F, so when we match A comma F, output is same, and the next state is B. Here is C. Sorry, here is D and here is C. So we write it if C implies D, and we write we here in this table is for x equals to 1, the value is B. Sorry, okay, fine. So we write it like C comma D. If C equals to D, then it may be same. Then again we check A and G, output is different, we put cross. Similarly, we match in the next column B and C. So B and C, output is different, we put cross. And where their output is different, directly put the cross. So when we checked B and F, so B and F, so output is same. In the first column C comma E, in the next column A and B. If A equals to B and C equals to Z, so we write it like C comma E and A comma B. And again in this way we complete the table. So here you can see that when we are checking D and E, so say here is both A, here is D, and the output is same, that we have put a right, means these states can be okay. Now when this happens, where this table is completed, now we check the implications. So here see, we had is put it D and E, so we look for the D and E. D and E, here is a right, that means these states are equal. So this happens where there is D and E, we put right, where there is D and E. Again the condition is C comma D. So we C and D, this is cross, that means we have to put a cross here. So here is the condition, C comma E. C comma is cross, then C, where there is C comma E, we have to put a cross. Again where there is a D comma C comma D, we have to put a cross. So these states are not equivalent. So where there is a tick, so ticks right conditions are A and B, D and E, D and G, E and G. These states are these states can be merged. So it clears that E and D are equivalent, and this leads AB and EG to be equivalent to. So these are the equivalent condition tables. Again, C and E is equivalent. That means C and E are not equivalent. That means B and F cannot be equivalent. Again, C and D is not equivalent. That means where there is C comma D, that is not equivalent. So we are left with the state A comma B that can be merged. DE, DG and EG, the both are D comma E comma G are equivalent states. That means, so finally we have A comma B that can be merged. There is no combination of the C will be as it is. E, D and G are same, and there is no matching of F, that F is as it is. So we are left with 4 states. So the original flow table can be reduced to A, B is equals to A, where there is B, write A, C is as it is, D, E, G, where is D, E, G, we have to write D, and F is same. So this is the state table reduced. So initially we have started from here. So here was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 states, and these 7 states are reduced to 4 states here. So this is the way with the help of the implication table. This is known as implication table. So with the help of the implication table, we can merge the stable states, and this procedure is quite easier as compared to the partitioning method, because we have to just make a implication table, and that will allow us to look into whichever state is equivalent and that can be merged. So let us stop today's lecture here. We'll resume